Have you been noticing God's grace all around you? Yes, I know, life is hard. The news is bad. There's not much good in the world, but there's still grace. God's unmerited favor that He has given us through the shed blood of His Son. If you have Jesus in your heart, that grace has been given to you in abundance. John 1 says, we have received grace upon grace, or grace in place of grace. And that grace is new with every single sunrise. But do you notice it? Have you taken the time in this season of pandemic to thank God for it? I've been especially aware of it a lot more lately, especially since the Lord led us to buy a new house. You would think a global crisis would not be the time to make such a purchase, but God has been all over it, in it, around it, and through it. I wish I had been writing it down, but this stupid hand of mine has prevented much handwriting. However, before my injury, I did write some of it down through a Bible study I was doing. I wanted to share with you some of the ways I've been seeing God's grace in my own life in this season so that maybe you can start being mindful of His grace to you. We have had abundant family time due to the lesson church schedule. God has provided financially, but also through gifts, meals, and other little ways all throughout the pandemic. God granted me the opportunity to speak and write weekly. He has kept my family safe. He has allowed me to see my kids interact in such a sweet way. It has rained a good bit this summer so that we have only had one terribly hot week. I got the chance to still have Bible study this summer, socially distanced, with some of my favorite people. My husband has cooked nearly every night since this all began in March. My Sunday school class has grown into such a tight-knit group that we have done life together through this challenging time. God allowed me to lead worship a couple of weeks ago. I've had a couple of ministry opportunities scheduled for this fall. Finally, He has given me His word time and time again to sustain me. I could go on and on all day, but I won't do that. It's time now for you to think about how God's grace has been poured out on you. If you feel like you haven't had any grace, oh yes, you have. You just haven't taken the time to see it. Right now, I challenge you to ask God to show you His grace in a new way. You may leave one way in the comments of this post so others can see it. The grace of God is all around. It's time to be amazed by it once again.